Hi and welcome to Outdoors with Richard. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the GeerTop Blazer one-person bivy tent. Now I've used this bivy on and off for about 8 months now, but let's take a closer look and then I can give you my final thoughts and opinions on this bivy. Now when I purchased this bivy, I purchased it here in the UK for around £99.99. But as I always say, depending where you live or where you purchase this from, prices may vary. Now, currently, this bivy comes in a choice of two colors. You can get it in a camouflage color or you can get it in an army green color. This bivy has also been classed as a 3/4 season bivy. So you could use this bivy in spring, summer, autumn or fall, depending where you live in the world. And I would say probably the warmer days in winter. Now this bivy does come in a nice drawstring storage bag. However, I have to say that with a lot of GeerTop storage bags, they're normally not very well made. The stitching is normally not very good, and they tend to be a bit on the small side. So trying to get stuff out and then back in these storage bags is never very easy. However, I have to say that this particular storage bag seems to be better made and it's definitely that little bit bigger. So I haven't had any struggles getting the bivy out and then back in this bag. Now, when it comes to the size of this storage bag, the length of the storage bag comes in at around 17 inches or around 43.18 centimeters, and then the width is coming in at around 4 inches or 10.16 centimeters. Now when it comes to the packed weight, so obviously the packed weight is the storage bag, the bivy itself, plus the poles, plus the pegs, it's coming in at around 1.5 kilos or £3 5 ounces. But let's go outside, let's get this bivy pitched, and then we can take a closer look. So I've set up the bivy. Now it'll take you about 5-6 minutes to set up, but with this bivy you do have to set up the internal tent first and then put the fly sheet over. But when you've put it up a couple of times, you're up and running. So it's really not very difficult at all. Now, first impressions of this bivy. I really like this bivy. I particularly like it in the camouflage color. I have seen it in the tent green color, and that looks really nice as well. I like the size of the bivy. Looking at the size and the shape, it's definitely going to give you that little bit more room inside the bivy. However, it's not too big that it's going to stand out. I know a couple of people that stealth camp and they use this particular bivy, and if it was too big, they definitely wouldn't use it for stealth camping. Now, having a look at the outer fly, the outer fly is made out of a 210T ripstop polyester with a hydrostatic head of 2,500, so it's more than waterproof. Now, just on the hydrostatic head, I just want to clear up a point because there seems to be a little bit of confusion. I've watched a couple of other reviews, and people are mentioning that they're saying with this bivy that the hydrostatic head is up to 5,000, but then it states 2,500 somewhere else. Basically what it is, the outer fly is 2,500 and the inner tent is 2,500. So that's giving you up to 5,000. Now all the stitching is double stitched. All these seams are double stitched. They've also been tape sealed, which is going to add to the durability and the waterproofing. Now, with regards to the waterproofing, several years ago, a lot of the GeerTop tents and bivvies were letting in water. I don't think it was a design fault as far as the fabric that they were using. I think it was more to do with the seams. But since then, they now do double stitch them, and they also tape seal the seams. So it seems to have rectified that problem. Now, when it comes to the poles and the pegs, they are both made out of alloy, so they're light and they're durable. Right, so coming around to the front of the bivy here, you have got a rain fly here. Now, on some bivvies, you can roll this rain fly up, and underneath here, there is a mesh window. You can't see it because this is down and I can't roll it up. But you've got your rain flower here. You've also got one each side. You've got these guidelines, which are reflective guidelines. Now, I know someone stated in the comments once, if you are stealth camping, it sort of defeats the object having a reflective guideline. Now, although they are bright green, they are not luminous, so they're not as bad in the dark as you think, but you can always change those. Right, coming down to the far end of the bivvy, you've got another rain fly down here. Now this rain fly is really nice because if it is raining, you can have it completely down. However, if it's not raining, you can unzip it. These can be tucked to the side. I'll just do this very quickly. And then this one can be just rolled up, and I'm not going to do it now, but that can just be tied up there, and then you've got another mesh window there, which is going to help with airflow. Now, as I said, if it is raining, you can keep this down. But another great thing about this end fly is that at the same time it kind of doubles up as like a little compartment. So you could put something small in there, I don't know, a little bag or some shoes or something, and you could store it underneath there. Now, one of the big features with this bivvy, and I'm not going to show you both sides, but it actually has a door both sides. So I'm just going to show you this side with this door, but what I show you, exactly the same will happen on the far side. So you have another rain fly here, which covers the zip. You also have some Velcro, which will help keep that rain fly closed if the wind should pick up. I'm going to bring this zip up here. Now, you can roll this back, which I'm going to roll this up, and then you can tie it back up here, which I'm going to do now quickly for you. That's one. All right, just get these rolled up. That's it. Okay, so now that's rolled up, you can see that you're greeted with another door. You're greeted with a mesh door. Now the mesh door is great, and obviously don't forget you'll have another mesh door that side if you roll the outer door up as well. That's going to help you in the warmer months. It's going to help a nice bit of airflow in there, which will also in turn help reduce some condensation. Now when it comes to how you like your doors, you can have your doors both sides fully closed. You can have them both fully open. You can have one side open, one side closed, partly open, partly closed. The choice is yours. Now you get a nice 3/4 pretty much length zip, so plenty of room to get in. Now on some of the bivvies, the zip does come right over the top. It doesn't on this one because you have another zip that side for the other door. But if I open this zip up here, and this too can be rolled back, so I'm just going to roll this back quickly again. All right. It doesn't take long. And just do this side here, and then you can have a good look inside the bivvy when I've done this. Now, when it comes to the internal bivvy, this too is made out of a 210T ripstop polyester, and this has a hydrostatic head rating, as mentioned earlier, of 2,500. Now, the floor of this bivvy is probably, for me, a little on the thin side. So what I would do is I would always put some form of a footprint underneath your bivvy. I've just got a little bit of tarpaulin underneath there today, just to protect the bottom of the bivvy, but also give you another layer of sort of insulation. Now, when it comes to the internal measurements of this bivvy, I have measured it, and it is there or thereabouts. First of all, the length of the bivvy comes in at 7 foot. The width of the bivvy comes in at about 3 foot 4 inches. Now, the width of the bivvy at the narrowest point, so at the top end, the head end and the foot end, they coming in at around 3 foot 3 inches, around there. When it comes to the height of the bivvy, at the highest point, it's 3 foot. And at the lowest point down here, I think it's around a foot and 4 inches, something like that. Those are sort of like approximate measurements, but they're there or thereabouts. Now, I'm 6'2" and I'm fairly broad, so I'm going to get in now and I'm just going to show you what it's like when I get in here to give you an idea of the room. So what I'll do is I'll step in. Now, what I do like with these side entrance bivvies, they're certainly a lot easier to get in than a front entrance bivvy. Let's just move those there. So first of all, if I lie completely flat out, I've still got a little bit of room to go at the top, even if I move in, and I'm not touching the foot of the bivvy. So plenty of room lengthwise. Widthwise, I've got my arms spread quite far out, and there's plenty of room to the side. There's acres of room up here, which is great for a bivvy, because some bivvies are very, very low and they can feel a bit claustrophobic. Now, if I want to turn, now I'm a bit of a restless sleeper, but I can turn and I've got lots of room to turn. Obviously, it's not going to be tall enough for me to sit up in, but I could lean up and I'm still not touching the top of the bivvy. So plenty of room in here. Now, obviously, I don't have a sleep system in here, but even with a sleep system, you're going to have room. Now, internally, you can't see it, but there is a little hook up here for your lamp, which is great. And if you come in, you might be able to see here, you've got a mesh window all the way around, so that's going to aid with airflow. And then you've got a little double pocket here for any knickknacks. Right, okay. And then the last thing I want to just quickly show you is, which is a concern for a lot of people, is that when it comes to the roof of the bivvy, a lot of bivvies really do bow down quite a lot. And people say, well, you know, if it rains heavy and I get pools of water on there, it's never great. This bivvy is a lot tauter than most bivvies. And with that, it's about a 45-degree slope or so, maybe a bit more. That water will just run off. However, you do have the option down the end here. They've got a couple more loops here that you could put a couple more guy lines on and pull that even tighter. So that's going to make the roof even more taut. So, you know, you're definitely not going to have as much sagging as you would in a lot of bivvies. But that's the bivvy. I like it. But what I'll do now is I'll give you my final thoughts and opinions on this bivvy. So, my final thoughts and opinions on the GeerTop Blazer one-person bivvy tent. Well, I've got to be honest with you, I've really enjoyed using this bivvy over the last few months. It's been really easy to pitch. It's been really easy to take down. Now, I used this bivvy in the sun, the rain and the wind. I didn't use it while it was snowing though. But when the sun was out and I was in this bivvy, I felt I was protected from the sun. However, it can get a little bit warm in this bivvy when the sun's out. Now, with regards to rain, I never tested this bivvy in torrential rain, but I definitely tested it enough to know that this bivvy is waterproof, because when it did rain, no water came into this bivvy at all. However, I would always recommend that if you are using a bivvy, I would put a nice tarp over the top of your bivvy. This gives you a little bit of extra protection from the elements, but also, you know, during the evening, you know, you can sit underneath your tarp and relax before you're ready to go to bed, because you just can't sit in a bivvy all night. It's just too small for that. Now, When it came to the wind, there was one night when the wind did get up to around the 15, 20 mile per hour mark. And I've got to be honest, this bivvy stood strong, so I had no issues with the wind. Now, when it came to condensations, I always think that bivvies and condensation seem to go hand in hand. Every morning I had a little bit of condensation in the bivvy. But as I always say, I don't think you're ever going to eliminate condensation. It's more about reducing it. And the only way you're going to do that is try get as much airflow through the bivvy as possible. Now, when it came to the entrance of this bivvy, I really like a side entrance bivvy. I think it's so much easier to get in and out of than a front entrance. I also liked the mesh doors on this bivvy. I think in the warmer months, you can really roll up those outer doors and just have the mesh door sealed, zipped closed, and that's going to still let a nice bit of airflow in, while at the same time keeping any bugs or flying insects out. Space-wise, I enjoyed the space in this bivvy. Definitely bigger than most bivvies, which in turn also made it less claustrophobic. Now, when it came to the quality of this bivvy, I think this bivvy is fairly well made. My only concern would be that the floor of this bivvy was a little on the thin side. So I would recommend that you put some form of a footprint, I should say, underneath the floor of this bivvy, maybe even just a little bit of tarpaulin or something like that, just to protect it. Now, when it came to the weight was around the 1.5 kilo mark, which is probably a little heavy for a one-person bivvy. However, if you're just going for an overnighter and you're not taking a lot of stuff with you, and also taking into account that this is a bigger bivvy, I think 1.5 kilos is manageable. Now, when it came to the price tag, which I paid around the £100 mark, to be honest, although nowadays I think we always want as much bang for our buck as possible, I think the price tag was justified for this bivvy. So in saying that, I would recommend it. But I'd like to know what your thoughts are. So leave any comments below. I look forward to reading them. And as I always say, I always get back to everyone. But on that note, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for your support. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Come on board. If you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful, please leave me a nice big thumbs up. But until next time, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.